Now today I'm going to be talking about how to build muscle. Now I know this may not feel the most applicable at the minute with the gyms not being open, but it is only a couple of weeks away until lockdown's over and the gyms reopen, and as the bros say, it is traditionally bulking season. I'm just going to go through the main principles in order to build muscle. You'll see a million and one different ways about how to build muscle, or the things you have to do to build muscle. But there are a couple of things that you actually do have to do in order to build muscle, and I'm going to go through them now. Now the first thing is going to be training. Resistance training or other training that's going to put stress on the muscle. When we put stimulus on the muscle, more than likely through resistance training, it causes a stress on the body. When the stress is placed on the body, it then produces a response, so it adapts and becomes a stronger, bigger version of itself, so that when that same exercise or that same stress is put on the body, it doesn't seem as stressful. So building muscle is almost like a defense mechanism by the body. If we don't put any stress on the body, or if there isn't any sort of resistance training placed onto the body won't adapt, the body won't build muscle, the body won't get stronger. So resistance training is a requirement in order to build muscle. The second one is kind of going to be a subset of resistance training, and that is progressive overload. So what is progressive overload? It is basically what it says. Overloading the muscle bit by bit, progressively. There are a number of different ways to progressively overload. I need another full video in order to go through them all. But the main one you'll probably see is increasing volume, because volume is going to be the main driver of building muscle. So volume is sets by reps by load. So load being the weight you lift or the amount you go for if you're running it, let's say. So in terms of progressively overloading, you'll see people talking about increasing the weight or doing an extra set or doing an extra couple of reps. So that's how you progressively overload. And progressive overload is needed because when building muscle, the stimulus that you place on the muscle has to be sufficient in order to cause an adaptation. Has to be sufficient for the body to say, okay, we need to get stronger. That was too much stress. If you lift a weight that's too easy, the body will realize that was pretty easy. We don't really need to adapt. But if you progressively overload to the point where that's just that little bit more than the body's done before, it'll say, okay, that was a lot of stress. We don't want that again. Let's get stronger. Let's get bigger. And that's progressive overload. Putting that little bit extra weight on, doing that extra set, doing that extra couple of reps. So in order to put on muscle, there has to be progressive overload. The third one, and one of the most important ones, is going to be protein. Now we all know protein because protein is advertised everywhere. Protein milk, protein pancake, protein shakes, protein bars. You see it everywhere, but it is kind of required in order to build muscle. When we resistance train and when we progressively overload, we're going to place a lot of stress onto the body. That stress is going to cause micro tears within the muscle. So the body needs to repair, it needs to regenerate, it needs to become stronger and more efficient. So to do that, you need protein in order to help with that repair. It's made of these things called amino acids. Now some amino acids are made within the body, and some of them we have to take in from food. These amino acids are then pooled together within the body, and they're used by the muscle in order to form new muscle, stronger muscle. When we actually eat protein probably isn't so much important as how much we eat, and how much protein we should be eating a day is also very much up for debate. Many studies talk about many different protein ranges, but to be safe, somewhere between 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight is probably what we should be aiming for. Now that probably sounds like a lot of gibberish, but in order to make it sound simpler, let's say I was to have 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. I weigh 80 kg, so I would be looking to aim for in a day 160 grams per day. So that's 80 kg by 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. That's probably what I should be aiming for. Somewhere between 1.6 to 2.2 would probably be the safest bet for most people. And the final one I'm going to mention is going to be a calorie surplus. Now, a calorie surplus isn't entirely necessary, but it is most certainly helpful. So as we know, resistance training is going to put stress on the body, it's going to cause damage, and you're going to need to repair. If we have a calorie surplus, you're going to have more energy that the body can use in order to repair quicker and more efficiently. Now, a calorie surplus isn't absolutely required. Like if you're eating in calorie maintenance and you're getting enough protein in, you're progressively overloading, you will put on muscle. And even it's been shown in some untrained individuals, so people that haven't done training before, even if they were to eat in a calorie deficit, they'll still put on muscle if they hit the other requirements. But for most people, a calorie surplus anywhere between 200, 300 calories will help most people build muscle. Now you'll notice I'm saying there 200 to 300 calories will be sufficient. That doesn't mean that if you're usually eating 3,000 calories that you have to go and eat 5,000 calories or dirty bulk. There's no such thing as a dirty bulk. Now they're kind of the main principles of putting on muscle. There are certain other things that will most certainly help it. Getting 8 hours of sleep, getting your 2 to 3 litres of water per day, and also creatine has been shown to improve lean body mass. So hit those principles and you'll be jacked in no time.